Hello, good morning, students. I hope you people are doing your lessons regularly. And as I have asked the few of the students, I got the message that the second part of the chapter was remaining, so we are doing that part today. The name of the chapter is The Shehnai of Bismillah Khan. This is the second part of the second chapter. The second chapter was the Sound of Music, part 1 and part 2. And you people had already covered the part 1 of Sound of Music, that was of Avonlea Glanny. And today we are doing the second part of the chapter, that is the Shehnai of Bismillah Khan. So let's move towards the chapter. Chapter 2, Part 2, The Shehnai of Bismillah Khan. So, first of all, I would like to tell you about Bismillah Khan. So, I don't know whether you people know who was Bismillah Khan or not, but Bismillah Khan was a very renowned Shehnai player in India. I should say that he was a legend. And why? If I am saying that he was a legend, then why he was treated as a legend? Because it is said that he is a legend because he has done something which has a historical significance in the history, and he has played the Shehnai for the first time on the day when India got independence. That is on the 15th of August 1947. Bismillah Khan played the Shehnai for the first time at the Red Fort before the Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru gave his speech, and before that Bismillah Khan played the Shehnai in order to have a significance of something which is very auspicious. Auspicious means we should say that which is very treated as one kind of a good thing. So as India was about to get the freedom from the Britishers, and when India got independence on 15th of August 1947, Bismillah Khan played the Shehnai for the very first time at the Red Fort before the Prime Minister of India, Jawaharlal Nehru. Fine. See, here are some pictures, and in these figures as well you can see that there are some musicians, and they all are having different musical instruments, and these are all very famous musicians who were having a great importance, and they used to play the different musical instruments. Emperor Aurangzeb banned the playing of a musical instrument called pungi in the royal residence, for it had a shrill and unpleasant sound. So, over here the story starts, and the author is trying to say that when the Mughals ruled over India, and dear students, do you know when the Mughals ruled over India? Mughals ruled over India before the Britishers had came to India. So there was a famous Mughal ruler or the Mughal emperor Aurangzeb, and he had banned the playing of pungi. Pungi is also a one type of a musical instrument, and banned means prohibited, means he was not. He said that the playing of pungi is now not allowed. That is banned. Banned means prohibited, and he did not allow this musical instrument pungi to be played in his royal residence. And why did he ban the pungi? Because it has a shrill and unpleasant sound. Shrill means the sound which is very ગુજરાતી માં જેને આપણે કહીએ ને કે સાવ તીણો અવાજ છે કાનમાં વાગે એવો, that type of shrill, and unpleasant means the sound which the person does not like, that is treated as an unpleasant sound. Pungi became the generic name for the reeded noisemakers. Generic name means one type of a name which is given to the particular class or as a group of whole. For example, I should say paracetamol. Paracetamol is a type of medicine. Crocin is also a medicine, but crocin is given by many companies. Fine, it is a medicine which is produced by the many companies, but it is treated as a crocin. So crocin is the generic name which is given to that particular type of medicine. So it is a generic name few had thought that it would one day be revived. So, as the Mughal emperor thought that now the playing of pungi will not be allowed in the royal residence, means in his own palace. So some of the people thought that no, this instrument will be revived, means after some time he will only give the permission to play that musical instrument. A barber of a family of a professional musicians who had access to the royal palace decided to improve the tonal quality of the pungi. He chose a pipe with a natural hollow stem that was longer and broader than the pungi and made 7 holes on the body of the pipe when he played on it. Closing and opening some of the holes, soft and melodious sounds were produced. So, once what happened that there was one barber, and that barber was belonged from the professional musician's family, and who was an access to the royal palace, means he was having a number of works in the royal palace, and he used to come and go at the royal palace. So one day, after knowing that Aurangzeb had banned, means he had prohibited the playing of pungi, he thought that he will invent some another kind of an instrument which is having a pleasant or melodious sound. So how he will produce that instrument? So he is saying that he had to choose one pipe with a natural hollow stem. Pipe means one thick stem like thing, and he will make 7 holes into the body of that pipe. And when he played on it, closing and opening some of these holes, soft and melodious sounds were produced. He played the instrument before royalty, and everyone was impressed. The instrument so differently from the pungi to be given a new name. As the story goes, since it was the first played in the Shah's chamber and was played by the knight, that is the barber, the instrument was named as pungi. So, see, this was an instrument which was known as pungi, and this is the one which was known as shehnai. So, you can see both the figures, and he is saying that the instrument means the pungi which the barber played, that has produced a very melodious sound, and as it was played in the Shah's chamber and was first time played by the knight, the newly invented pungi. I am not talking about the old one which was banned by Aurangzeb, but the newly invented pungi, and it was played by the first time, it was treated as shehnai. So this was the old shehna pungi, and while after some invention, this was treated as shehnai. The sound of the shehnai began to be considered auspicious, and for this reason, it is still played in the temples and is an indispensable component of any North Indian wedding. So, as it was auspicious means promising to bring some good fortune, means which will give us the good vibes. That type of thing is treated as auspicious, and as the sound of the pungi was treated as an auspicious, and it was also till today, it is the reason that in the North Indian wedding, people used to play the pungi. In the past, the shehnai was a part of the Naubat, or a traditional assemble of 9 instruments found in the royal courts. In the olden days, before the independence, what used to happen? That before that, when in the royal palace, when there was a musical theme, there were 9 members, and in the crew of 9 members, and the 9 musical instruments, pungi was also included. Till recently, it was used only in the temples and the weddings. The credit of bringing this instrument into the classical stage goes to the Ustad Bismillah Khan. But in the olden days, it was only played in the temples and in the wedding. But to have the playing of pungi in any other occasion except this in the temples and in the Indian wedding, the credit of bringing this instrument goes to Ustad Bismillah Khan. As a 5-year-old, Bismillah Khan played gilli danda near a pond in the ancient estate of Dharman in Bihar. He would regularly go to the nearby Bihariji temple and sing the Bhojpuri Chaita, at the end of which he would own a big laddu weighing 1.25 kg, a prize given by the local Maharaj. So what was happening, that as the 5-year Bismillah Khan, means when Bismillah Khan was a small child, he used to play gilli danda. Gilli danda is the name of a game, and as he used to play the gilli danda in the ancient state of Dharman in Bihar. So Dharman is the name of one state in Bihar where he used to live. and he regularly used to go to the Bihariji temple, where in Bihar Bismillah Khan used to go in the Bihariji temple, and he used to sing the Bhojpuri Saita. And after singing that, at the end of the Maharaj of the temple will give him a big laddu, and the weight of that laddu was 1.25 kg. This happened 80 years ago, and the little boy has travelled far to earn the highest civilian awards in India, the Bharat Ratna. So, at the age of 80, means before 80 years ago, means when Bismillah Khan was a small child, this thing used to happen. But as he had grown up, he was awarded with the Bharat Ratna award. Born on 21st of March 1916, Bismillah Khan belongs to a well-known family of musicians from Bihar. His grandfather Rasul Bux Khan was the Shehnai Nawaz of Bhojpur King's court. His father Paigambar Bux and the paternal ancestors were also the great Shehnai players. So the overall family background of Bismillah Khan is given over here. Bismillah Khan was born on 21st of March 1916, and his family belongs to the well-known musician family from Bihar, and his family was also a musician family. His grandfather Rasul Bux Khan was a Shehnai player in the Bhojpur King's court in Bihar, and his father Paigambar Bux was also the paternal and other paternal ancestors. Paternal ancestors means grandfather के पापा वो सब, that is paternal. हमारे पापा के साइड के जो लोग हैं, they all were also the great Shehnai players. The young boy took music early in the life. At the age of 3, when his mother took him to his maternal uncle's house in Banaras, now Varanasi, Bismillah Khan was fascinated watching his uncles practicing the Shehnai. So when Bismillah Khan was a small boy and his mother used to take him to his maternal uncles means हमारे मामा, अगर उसके घर पे मामा के घर पे भी वो लोग तब जाते थे, तो he used to observe his uncle playing the Shehnai. Bismillah Khan started accompanying his uncle Ali Bux to the Vishnu temple in the Banaras, where Bux was employed to play the Shehnai. So he also accompanied his uncle to play the Shehnai. Ali Bux would play the Shehnai and Bismillah would sit captivated for hours on end. Slowly he started getting lessons and playing the instruments and would sit practicing throughout the day. For years to come, the temple of the Balaji and Mangala Maya on the bank of the Ganga became very apprentice favorite haunt where he could practice in solitude. The following waters of the Ganga inspired him to improvise and invent a rag where that were earlier considered to be beyond the range of Shehnai. So as he was sitting over there, what he used to do? He used to play the Shehnai, and he used to accompany his uncle to play the Shehnai. But as the time passed, he was just observing that how his uncle used to play the Shehnai, and with the help of that, he started learning how to play the Shehnai. And as the time went, he used to play the Shehnai on the bank of Ganga river near the Mangala Maya's temple. And वहाँ पे बैठकर वो शहनाई प्ले करते थे, तो उसको क्या मोटिवेशन मिलता था? दैट नो ही विल गेट सम मोटिवेशन, एंड एज द flowing water of the Ganga inspired him to invent the new rag as well. Dear students, it's a humble request that if you had not written this chapter in the fair book, right now you just write down the meanings from the textbook in the fair book, and I will provide you the question answers as well. Thank you.